Good afternoon, guys. Mr. Kylie here with Martial Arts America, Team Navarre. Today's date is April 27th. This is your Krav workout of the day. Today, I want you to take your band and then toss it off to the side. Okay, we've been doing a lot of band work. You guys have been getting real strong. What we're going to do today is we're going to form this week, and this week specifically on classes, we're going to go back and work on some of the form, the technique, okay, with a lot of our striking, specifically the level 2 combinations. If you're a level 2 person, you can still rock on with us with the level 2 combinations. Having fun with as many as we can get to without kind of overwhelming our brains, and still getting a good workout out of it. All right, so if you have your gloves, go put your gloves on. If you don't have gloves, that's totally okay. Want to get a good sweat going? I also want to get moving with our glove work. So we're going to work at the very least combinations 1 through 8. I'd like to get higher up than that. Essentially into like 1 through 12 would be the goal for me. Maybe 1 through 14. And then also the 21 strike combo. I'm going to try to show you from multiple different angles. If you have someone to hold mitts for you, that's great. If not, you really don't need it, so it's okay. Good. So locked and loaded. I'm not sure why I put these on, so we need to stretch out first. So I'm going to do that real fast. Sit right back off. Perfect. Start pushing our hip forward. Then I pull this one to you this way. If you want to feel this even more, you can grab it with your back hand. And the goal is to take that same side arm and actually put your stance up, push to the side, try your hip down, and look up at the sky. Trying to get a nice little stretch in your back too. And then come back, and then sit back on your heel. And switch. I'm going to throw a couple other stretches at you guys today. Haven't done in a while, so it's important to make sure we're doing those. Okay, especially because we're going to spend a lot of time kind of with that covered stance. It's very important to go ahead and just almost really work on pronouncing and pulling our shoulders back. You need to stretch out our mid to upper back. As we spend too much time cramped up like this, that can add some strain to you. So we're going to work on some different lower back, middle back, upper back stretches, kind of keep everything stretched out as well as your shoulders. All right. First one being my personal favorite called threading the needle. From here, like this, and you will just simply alternate going under. This arm can bend. Just keep the weight on. Try not to bend it as much. You want to go down and you want to keep weight on this arm, so you're not trying to lay down. You're not laying down. You are pushing through until that opposite side shoulder hits. Hold for a couple seconds, and then kind of push back up to middle. Alternating that nice and slow. You're trying to get some rotation through your cervical spine. Good. Another stretch that they're called cat cows. There's a stretch I did while I was at physical therapy for a while that it looks weird and it looks like you're not doing anything, but I've done a lot of research on ways to open up your middle and upper back, and this one, all the research I do, this one keeps popping up. So at some point I was like, that one's weird, I'm not going to do it. But after I've seen enough, people that are more intelligent than I am go, hey, you probably should do that. I just kind of go, okay, I'll do it. And so it's, again, the cat cow, it comes from here, it comes from that same like thread needle position. And all you do from here is you arch your back, and then you bow your back, and you arch. And I'm trying to stick your butt out. You're trying from here, just arch your back, roll your shoulders, and then bow everything. You just repeat that a couple different times. A good stretch from here is going to be from this position. This leg comes up. Good. From here, you're going to open this up just like that. Get some rotation through your shoulders. Back, other side. And same thing from this position here. You'll take this leg, you're going to pull it through. Good. The key to this is we have a 90-90 stretch. It's very similar to this one. Over here, this is not that. Okay, this one puts a little bit more tension on the outer hip, which is what we're looking for. So the biggest thing with this one, keep that your hip actually off the ground, start pushing back into it. So I'm trying to squat back into it though. And a couple ways to feel it, either to inch this leg backwards more to increase this hip roll, or to just come up and kind of pull your knee off the ground. You can also work on leaning forward to feel it more. But your end goal is, and as you can see, mine is not. Okay, you want your shin to be parallel with your shoulders, right? So I don't want to make sure that my end goal one day will be to get this like that, very comfortably, right, and hold that. Right now, it doesn't really want to do that, and that's okay. One way to get it there is to do this enough times. You just need to be very active with your hip stretches. It's also kind of cool to note, as you're doing this, it's very normal to find inconsistencies with your flexibility. So a lot of times, like for me, my left hip, because I'm a lot more active with it, it tends to be more stretchy than my right hip. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with my right hip. That just means I use my left one more. A lot of times we tend to be dominant on one side. We tend to use a side more so than the other side. Just naturally throughout life, whether you're left-legged dominant, you played soccer or some other kind of kicking sport, or for whatever reason. A lot of times, as strange as it seems, you'll see with hip flexibility, and especially like with a lot of spine, like cervical spine and spine things, especially a lot of other waitresses or waiters or parents that they're used to sitting with their child on their hip, right? And they sit with the child here when they do stuff. A lot of times they end up with a lot of tightness on this side because they're spending where it needs to be over loose because it's so much stretch. You're kind of leaned off to the side way more times than we think about it. Okay, from here, last thing we're going to do, either grab maybe a resistance band or a bow or a broomstick, something that you can do your hip rotate, your shoulder rotations real fast with. No worries, guys. This class for a lot of you guys tends to not be an effective time frame because you're doing other stuff. I appreciate you guys going back and watching. If you are watching it now, good. I appreciate you. Get some work in. We're trying to get about 20 of these in, 25 maybe. Do them until you're tired, basically. You're gonna get everything to open up. Try to make sure you touch your lower back gently. Then come back. Make sure it's helpful if you have me or something to that extent. So as you're doing it, you notice you're not like doing any kind of weird auto correction to make it happen. It's also very helpful to start way too wide. And if that's easy, then you pull it in a little bit. You just try to maintain that solid technique. A couple more. There it is. Cool. All right. So we're going to work all of our striker. Again, if you have gloves, great. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. You're not hitting anything, so you don't really need them. But it is kind of nice to add a little weight to what you're doing. Okay. I'm going to mirror you guys, so I'm going to face you as you so if you guys have your left side, I'm going to have this side forward, so it's technically the same. I think that'll work. I'll try to show you from a bunch of different views. If I get a little bit confused as I'm doing this, it's kind of hard to go back and do every combination on my opposite side. But I'm going to do the very best I can for you. And then I'll also show you from this view. We'll do it from this view. We'll also do it like this if you're right behind me in class. So you're seeing it from a couple different ways. So you can pay attention to the rotation of the shoulders and hips. You can pay attention to the distance between the feet, so we're not overstepping. You can pay attention to where the hands are, all the ancillary things that are happening while the combinations are happening. So combination number one is jab, right? Little things to pay attention to when we're working our jab. And this should be the goal. It's not because it's forms week, not only to get a good workout and really break down the technique and drill it a lot, but to break down all the ways you can do it incorrectly. If you know how to do something incorrectly, then you can make sure to not make that mistake. That's kind of what we're looking for at this case. Okay, and why. We also go over why doing those things incorrectly is so bad. Okay, so from here with the jab, it should be here, right? Your feet, your body kind of moves forward together. Right? That's why they call it jab step. The jab step literally means you step when you jab. Boom, right? Okay, you step forward, right off center line, boom, and right back. Okay, little things to know when you throw that jab. Make sure, because your body's very used to going push and pull, so your other hand is used to doing the negative motion when this hand's doing a positive, a forwards motion. So just make sure when you're doing your jab, you're not going here, right? Because a lot of times that just exposes what you're doing. So that's why if you do have gloves, it does kind of help. You actually put that under your chin So when you do it, you don't feel it leave. Good. It's stuck to you, just like that. Okay, so there's your jab. So you practice your jab enough times to get comfortable with what that jab is. Okay, make sure you find distance. Another big common mistake when seeing a jab is end up you're flagging the jab, so you're showing it before it goes. Because we're used to a lot of times just being here. And so with everything in tight, if you see shoulder, if you notice that when you do this, you're lifting and pushing. Good, because that's a big giveaway that a jab or some strike is coming. Instead of it being here, right? Elbow stays tight and it pushes straight forward. We don't want any kind of negative motion or extra added motion. So it's not a rear back. It's definitely not that. A lot of times you don't see this movement so much with jabs. You do see it a lot with crosses, which we'll get to in combination number 2 right now. And so I have jab, back hands up, and then from here, as this hand comes back, you cross. A lot of times you'll see this negative motion because most people, we end up, no matter if we're learning something brand new, we end up trying to pull from something we've done in the past. In this case, just about everyone, even if they have never done martial arts before, they've either played some sort of sport, like on a team, or they did it during recess when they were younger, and they know how to throw a ball. Our body knows, and so when we end up doing this, our initial response, especially when we're kind of tired or first learning something, will be to go back to what our body thinks it wants. And so it ends up going and throws the cross here, or it does some sort of rear back. And in throwing a ball, we can afford the negative motion because, and hopefully no one's trying to hit us. Okay, so in this case, it is, so I need to make sure it's straight out. So combination number 2, jab cross, making sure the hand stays tight. Good, straight out, there's 1, and then pull it back, pivot, there's 2. And make sure it's not just your hand going. Good, you feel your body pivot, good, with your hand. That should be the more outlying goal when we're doing all this, because we're not trying to break a target. We're not trying to add max power right now because there's nothing to hit. Right? We're trying to make sure that everything feels like it's supposed to feel. That is a thing called the mind-muscle connection. Most people think that's just, but it's a real thing. You can kind of get inside your body and really feel what's going on and make it work for you better. Okay, so when you're here, 1, 2, and instead of feeling the punch through your hand, you want to feel the punch through your shoulder. All of your strike work should feel like it's coming out of your shoulders, because it is. Instead of me pushing my hand, good, I want to push my shoulder. Instead of me punching here, I want to feel my shoulder drive forward. I want to feel the whole kinetic link of my back foot turning, my back knee turning, my hip rotating, leaning onto my front foot, which turns my core, which turns my torso, which turns the shoulder, which sends out the hand. So that's a lot at one time, because I get excited about this stuff, but it's just making sure instead of relying upon just that big overhand right hand, that big haymaker here, and just swinging your heavy arm, try to feel instead your whole body working for you. Okay, I promise, even if you're real strong, no matter how strong this arm is, your body is stronger, always, naturally. Okay, so use more of your muscle efficiently, right? So it's 1, 2. Okay, combination number 3 is that cross. Now we start to add our front hand hook in, right? So it's the number 3 is that more of a defensive combo. It's cross, front hand is up still, very good. Make sure you feel your shoulder on your chin. I probably should have worn a mic, but this mic would be getting crushed right now because everything's nice and tight to my body. So when I throw that cross, okay, when you naturally throw a movement, a striking movement, your chin especially should still be covered on all sides. This is one of the main knockout points to my body, is the chin line. When I throw across, of course, I can't cover my temple line, but this hand can cover this side. And when I throw, I'm not here, right? Everything is tight. Your actual punch is hiding your chin line. If you can see it, good. If you feel kind of open, if you can feel that breeze on your chin, something's wrong. Okay, so make sure 1, 2. In this case, it's 1, and then the front hand hook, so I return fire here. There's my hook. Still feel your chin. Good, on your shoulder. Good, here's my hook. And then there's the hook, the cross. When you throw your hook, and honestly, we could have an entire class just on the hook. We're going to try to break it down a little bit finer without spending all class on it. When you're throwing your hook, you want to make sure your elbow lifts. Good, by your elbow lifting, you're still keeping your shoulder tight to your chin, and it should be this stirring the pot motion. Right? It should be like the big witch's cauldron, this situation here. And so when you're doing it, it is a roll. Good. I don't want to go 1, 2, because then I'm exposed. So instead, I want to swing it, and then it comes back to my chin as I reset up. So I come back, and even if I come back, I'm already still in a set guarded position, ready to fire again or defend. Okay, so number 3 is that cross, hook, cross. Okay, and kind of back up a little so you can see my feet. You notice that we never do any of these strikes without getting our feet involved, right? Cross, hook, cross. So it's here. That's what we're looking for, right? And then we add number 4, which is the same thing we just did with a jab in front. So making it a little more offensive, less defensive. So it's the jab to the cross, to the hook, to the cross. Good. And then number 5 is we add the uppercuts in, right? And so we now, at the end of this combination, will have really worked and drilled our 4 core punches, okay, which are the jab, the cross, the hook, and the uppercut. Every other punch you throw really is going to come up as a variation of one of those 4. That's why they're in the first 6 combos. Okay, so number 5 is we're going to uppercut. Make sure with the uppercut, okay, you're using you're lifting with your shoulders, you're lifting with your legs. As you're coming up through the middle, good, like they always tell, lift with your legs, not with your back. Same kind of case here. So instead of just, and if I just swing with my arm, then all of the weight is going to transfer to my lat and to my back. So any strike, any damage done is done with just my back and my arm. Instead, if I want to kind of sink my body down and now drive through my legs, now my hips get involved, my hamstrings and quads get involved, and then the rotational power of me torquing my body forward also has some play now. So it's 1, 2, there's my uppercut. This is not Mortal Kombat, I don't need this. It's 1, 2. Good, there's the uppercut, hook, cross, duck, uppercut. Now when you're throwing your front hand uppercut, it's kind of the footwork and the shoulder rotational work is very similar to your jab, as in you're stepping, good, so a slight step of that foot, and it's rotating sideways. So it's here, slight rotation to get distance. Same thing here, your body's kind of rotating to get that torque. Okay, when you're throwing your backhand, very similar to your backhand hook. So I'm sorry, to the cross. And so instead of being here, I still want this pushing motion and this pivoting motion, but it's here. So I'm still pivoting on that back foot. Okay, so real fast, going back from 1, and then working our way forward. So I have 1, which is the jab. 2 is jab, cross, get that up. 3 is cross, hook, cross. 4 is jab, cross, hook, cross. 5, duck, boom, uppercut, hook, cross, uppercut. And then 6 is the same thing, just in reverse. So I go front hand uppercut, boom, backhand cross, front hand hook, backhand uppercut. So you're also trying to get that flow of going from one side to the other. We're not doing all double striking has its place, good, or double jabbing or double hooking. At this point though, just getting used to going and adding one strike to the next, and how throwing one strike can then position your body for the next one with more power, right? So real fast, a little more to it. So same thing, 1 through 6, and 1, good, 2, good, 3, 4, sure everything, if you speed it up, stays tight. 5, 6, good. So going into 7, which is going to be your bobs, okay, whichever way you go. But these are, I'll start showing you from kind of the backside, so it makes a little more sense. So from here with the bobs, we're going to duck under, good, and then from here, hook, cross, hook, right? I'm going to back up a little bit. So you bob to the left, left hand hook, right hand cross, left hand. At this time, you're just programming your hands. You're just kind of organizing your brain to where your front hand only throws hooks. Your back hand only throws crosses. It's going to be that way for the next 4 combos. For this one, the next one, and the following 2. So it's from here to the left, hook, cross, hook, and to the right. Back hand only throws crosses, front hand only throws hooks. Cross, hook, cross. Okay, and then we go on to the next 2. So it's 9, and so from here it's going to be slip to the left, and then hook, cross, and to the right I slip. Good, there's my cross, there's my hook. Still trying to keep around. Again, with the head movement is specific. We can take like 2 minutes to work on that. Just the slips and then the bobs. Okay, with the slips, you want to make sure that you're kind of leaning and bending onto the center, like the center mass. And so from here, I'm this way. So I don't want your head coming outside of your shoulder line. So if I took from here and I had these 2 lines, I don't want your head so much coming way off over here. That's why you're kind of leaning forward a little bit, because you're still trying to stay over your foot. If you get too much off of your center line, off your center mass, it's really hard to get your balance back. And it's hard to A, be powerful, and B, be fast. Be fast. Good. So from here, I want to lean either onto my front leg or onto my back leg. Your whole goal is to dodge the punch. Okay, but not by leaps and bounds, just enough for it to miss you, but then by staying close enough so I can then counterattack, good, or dodge the next one, okay, if I need to, because I'm still balanced. Again, if I dodge the first attack, good, that's great, okay, but it's also if I'm off balance, now I'm just in a worse position for the second one to hit me. So I guess specifically for your slips, I want to dodge it by enough, but I'm leaning onto my front leg so I can come back to center if I need to. Same thing with back, you can dodge. So it's a jab you would dodge to the right. It's coming off their left side. I want to go to the outside of their body. If it's a cross, I would dodge it this way. I was trying to stay inside my center line. If it's a swinging technique, which most defensive techniques from you, you're going to defend against a swinging technique, because like we talked about before, most people don't know how to throw a punch, they don't know how to throw a ball, or just know how to swing their hand as hard as they can, so it comes off these very loopy motions. I'm trying to make sure bobs and weaves are your best friends. And so from here, if the swing comes from their right arm to my left side, I duck underneath, so I kind of step out a little bit. I step from underneath it. So it's a little bit of footwork here. Good. So I step. Boom. Notice how when I step, I'm not trying to go lateral as much as I am diagonal. I'm trying to get closer to them, and I'm trying to orbit them. So I'm not trying to go directly sideways. I'm trying to go almost forward and up. So when I step, good, I'm coming in. And a good way to practice this is just to have a line and make sure when you take a step, you step in front of the line. So like for me, I have this black piece of tape right here. I have this mat right here. And so when I throw my bob, I want to make sure when I go offline, good, when I come up, I should be in front of that line. Not by leaps and bounds, but just by enough. It just reminds you not to go laterally, or even worse, not go backwards. Good. And why is it not good to go backwards? A lot of times we think, well, if I'm backing up, then I'm further from danger. Sometimes. Okay, and sometimes you're just at the perfect distance for their max amount of length of strike to make contact with. That's why sometimes, again, if we try to slip, and now if we slip the wrong direction, if I don't slip forwards, if I slip backwards, I may have dodged their jab. But naturally, when you throw jabs and crosses, your cross, if thrown correctly, especially if they're over-exaggerating it, will always travel further, okay, than your jab will. Okay, so if I lean the wrong way, then I'm just going to be right in the sweet spot for their cross, even if it's a poorly thrown one, to make contact with. I'm right at the end of the whip, which is the last place I want to be. So that's why, as contradictory as it seems, kind of not leaning into contact, but moving forward, but with control and with awareness, is actually better than moving backwards. So again, I'm bobbing out forwards, good, or I'm bobbing forwards. Okay, and so with combinations worked on just now, it's the bob over to the side, make use of this pre-made torque. I'm going to be rotating this way to throw my front hand hook, backhand cross, front hand hook. Same thing going the opposite way. So if I come this way, again, front hand's only throwing hooks, backhand's only throwing crosses. You can kind of see my body lifting and starting to torque this direction. So I can then untorque and then throw my cross. There's my hook, there's my cross. Okay, the final two. Actually, the next two are going to be the slips. And so for the slips, we're going to slip to the left. This is more dodging their cross. If they throw a backhand, they just bypass the front, throw a backhand. I will slip this way, and then I come offline, throw my hook, throw my cross. And then the other side, I want to slip, and as I come up, I throw my cross, and then throw my hook. Oh, very good. And then the final two, of course, the fun ones, that are going to be, I'll mirror these with you, as you duck, or as you cover, because we also have gone over not only how to bob and weave and to duck and to slip, also how to shield and cover. And so I will cover on the side, on my left side, and then duck underneath, throw a body hook, boom, and then a head hook, boom, and then a cross, and then a hook. So one more time, I'll back up a little bit. So it's that, boom, duck underneath, go throw my own body hook back in return, throw a head hook as well, and a cross, and a hook. And then the final one, same kind of concept. I tighten my body down, good, catch it, duck underneath, body hook, make sure you throw that hook, your hand goes back to your head to cover, body hook here, right down the middle with an uppercut, front hand hook, backhand cross. So I'm scooting back through all of them real fast. I'm going to face this way so you kind of be you guys almost as if we're going to the mirror together. So number one is that jab and come back. Two is jab cross and come back. Three is cross, hook, cross. Four is jab, cross, hook, cross. Five starts your uppercut combo, so backhand uppercut, front hand hook, backhand cross, front hand uppercut. Six, front hand uppercut, backhand cross, front hand hook, backhand uppercut. Seven, you're going to start your bob, so you bob over to the side, good, and then hook, cross, hook. Eight, to the right, Good. Now with your cross and your hook, your cross, 9, you go slip to the left. So I slip, body kind of leans to that side, rotate the body off center line, hook, cross, and then 9, you're going to rotate to the right, slip to the right, good, come off, cross, hook, and then final 2, you're going to block the left side, keep that hand tight. You want to keep 2 points of pressure when you're blocking it, so it's not this, good, or that. You want to make sure it's to your body and to your chin. So there's a lot of structure there. So it's tight, rotate your body down, duck underneath, good, body hook, head hook, cross, hook, final 1, tuck body to the right, boom, tuck underneath to the right, back in, or now front hand keeps coming to your chin, and then hook, uppercut, hook, cross. Okay, on Wednesday's class, we'll go through the rest, and we'll also cover the 21 combo, the 21 punch combo, and then kind of put that all together. So we prepared for more of a cardio than a weight training on Wednesday, because it is form week this week. We want to make sure in Krav Maga we don't have technical forms, but by keeping strong technique with our striking and really breaking down all the strikes into our combinations, which we can know as our form more or less, okay, it is very helpful and strong. So we are making our body stronger, making it faster. I want to make sure as we do that, our technique is growing as well. Okay, thank you for today. Hope you guys had fun. Get together. Kira, Hui, Us. You guys are dismissed. Did you guys pop into Mr. Master Hamill's Krav class coming up very, very soon.